In all my 8 years of owning this console, I was not once invited to a rooftop party. 0 out of 10 console. Hi, I'm Try, and today I wanted to go back and take a look at the Nintendo Switch in sort of a retrospective memorial type video. It's actually wild that we've had this thing since 2017 and I've played so many games on it and just wanted to share some stories I had when it came to the Switch and some of my favorite experiences with it. When this video comes out, it'll be a few days before the Switch 2 Direct, so I wanted to say my piece before the inevitable Switch hype train drops us off onto the Switch 2 hype train, which, trust me, Switch 2 will be going full steam ahead. To start, let's go to when the system first dropped, March 3rd, 2017. Actually, let's go to March 1st, 2017. I was fortunate enough to have a buddy help me pre-order a Switch from the local Walmart for myself, and unfortunately, Walmart only lets you reserve 2 per person. So my friend Jason had 2 reserved, but my buddy Jacob was out of luck getting 1 pre-ordered. This led to 2 overnight stays at a GameStop to ensure first in line to get a Nintendo Switch. Now that's dedication. My buddy Jacob and I were still in high school, but Jason had just graduated, so he was able to literally camp out overnight. He also had an awesome setup where his car powered a generator that powered his PC, so he could play World of Warcraft overnight. It was legendary. Jacob met up with Jason the morning of March 3rd to pick up his Switch, and then right before school, Jacob presented me with my own Switch. My backpack was so heavy that day. I don't think I paid attention to a single thing in any of my classes. I got home and booted up what could still be considered the greatest video game on the Nintendo Switch, The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. This game was so special, and everything on the Nintendo Switch for the first few years felt like magic. Nothing looked this good on a handheld screen, and playing a game as massive as this on the go was unheard of. I remember bringing my Switch to school and I kind of felt like a Nintendo ambassador, showing it off to people and the cool functionality it had with the Joy-Cons being able to detach and other features. This would become an even bigger deal when Mario Kart 8 Deluxe came out. I never got Mario Kart 8 on my Wii U. I actually only played Smash on it, don't tell anyone. So this was a new game for me, and I played a ton of it at school during lunch and in between classes. I loved so many tracks in this game and I put a ton of hours into Mario Kart over the years. I loved the Booster Course Pass that eventually came out, and although I would have preferred a new game, I'm happy that we're gonna get a totally brand new experience for the Switch 2. The first year of Switch was absolutely insane. Splatoon 2 also came out, and oh, this is gonna hurt. It is the only game I have ever returned. Yeah, I convinced some friends at school to get it and then returned it because I wasn't falling in love with it. My situation with Splatoon is weird. Everything about it feels like something I should love. I love the punk aesthetic, the music is amazing, I love innovative shooters, but I just, for whatever reason, couldn't really get into it. So yeah, sorry Splatoon fans. October rolls around and of course I picked up Mario Odyssey, and this was the first 3D Mario game I got at launch and beat. I loved the capture mechanic and the worlds were so fun to traverse. Jump Up Superstar was an emotional high of this game, and while no tears were shed, it did take me back to the first time I played a Nintendo console, and the thoughts of past experiences came flooding back to me. The next major game I got was Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and I claim to be a Xenoblade fan even though this is the only Xenoblade game I've played. Rex was, yeah, not the coolest protagonist by any stretch, but the environments, the music, and the really robust combat system pulled me in. I'm also a sucker for gacha mechanics in games, so trying to get new blades and hitting rare ones was super fun. Shoutouts Percival, that dude was the GOAT. Now before we get into any more major Nintendo Switch games, I want to shout out what I think is the biggest reason I've spent more time on my Nintendo Switch than any other console out there: indie games. Just to call a few out: SteamWorld Dig 2, Hollow Knight, Celeste, Hades, Snipper Clips, Animal Well, Cassette Beasts, Amori, and the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. My Switch would not be the console I remember it so fondly as if it were not for the amazing indie games on this system. I have videos out already about Hollow Knight and Hades, so if you're curious on my takes on those specific games, check them out. But I'm so grateful for a day and age where these games are so much more accessible. The Switch being a hybrid in nature just feels right for these bite-sized titles that you can play here and there. As some of you know, in summer 2018 I left for a 2-year mission through my church, so I missed out on a lot of games from 2018 to 2020. I had a decent backlog to get through, but was still able to play some of the bigger titles that released when I got back. It's funny, one of the people I met on my mission knew how big of a Nintendo fan I was and told me to come over to his place on December 7th, 2018. That date is a very important date for a lot of people, because it's the release date for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I do not understand how this game came out as quickly as it did for the Switch. Think about it. In late 2014, Smash 4 came out to both 3DS and Wii U, and then only 4 years later we got Smash Ultimate, which is such a huge game. Weird that it's been almost 7 years since we got Ultimate. But I showed up to my friend's house, and of course he had Smash Bros. Playing on his TV. I wasn't allowed to play games, but I watched him unlock characters and gave him a couple pointers as the Smash aficionado I claim to be. It's really funny because during the Christmas of 2018, I had a family in the local area I was serving that found out how much I liked Nintendo and gave me Super Mario Odyssey themed sheets for my twin bed, which is really funny looking back at it now. I don't have a Switch with me, but I'm here in spirit. My parents also sent me Zelda shirts that I still wear to this day, and while I couldn't play a lot of these games coming out, my love for Nintendo was strong. I did end up getting back, and of course Smash Bros was the first thing I downloaded onto my Switch. I got married a few years later, and got Animal Crossing for my wife. I loved New Leaf and played the heck out of it on my 3DS back in 2012. I wanted to convert my wife to Nintendo gaming, and she may only be a cozy gamer and Mario Partier, but it was so fun watching her play and build up her town in the series she had never heard of prior to meeting me. I also recently played through Fire Emblem Three Houses, which is a ton of fun. I love the characters and the story, and just had such a blast playing through this game. I played Engage before Three Houses, and while Engage visually looks so much better, the writing and story is not the greatest. The Switch also marks the first time I ever dipped my toes into the Metroid series. Metroid Dread came out in 2021, and I really liked this game. I love Metroidvanias, and I felt like the environments, and especially the boss fights in this game, were crafted with so much love. Mercury's Steam, you absolutely cooked with this game. I also never played any of the Prime series, so when Prime Remastered was shadow dropped, I bought it and booted it up. I loved exploring this barren planet, and the music tied in perfectly with the feeling of being alone. The environments were great to explore, and this has to be one of the best looking games on the Nintendo Switch. I also played quite a bit of Pokemon on the Switch, and I talk about a lot of my in-depth thoughts in my future Pokemon video, but in short, I did not like Sword and Shield very much. I really enjoyed Arceus, and I had the most fun with Pokemon in a long time with Scarlet and Violet, regardless of its glaring issues, and I mean glaring issues. The system was pretty great for Mario, and especially Mario Party. I've played all 3 Mario Party games that came out and enjoyed them all in their own ways. I think the Joy-Con mini-games were actually really fun, and Super Mario Party's buddy system was pretty fun, I thought. Superstars was a collection of oldies but goodies, and I probably put the most time into this one. More recently, we got Jamboree, and this game is the best Mario Party we've had in a long time. The buddy mini-games are so cool, and I can tell they put time into this down to small little animations that we haven't seen in Mario Party games before. As someone who doesn't care too much for 2D platformers, Super Mario Wonder had me in a chokehold. I got to attend Nintendo Live back in 2023 with my buddy Jason, yeah, the same Jason who sat outside GameStop for 2 days, and I got to play a demo of Super Mario Wonder before anyone else. The game sunk its teeth into me, and I played it to completion when it came out. I love the way Mario looks in this game, and the departure from the new Super Mario Bros. Art style was so needed. Finally, I want to talk about the last few Zelda games we got. Yeah, I missed a ton of games that came out, and I don't have a massive gaming budget, so I couldn't play everything, but please feel free to share your experiences with games that I missed. I didn't play Labo, Ring Fit, Astral Chain, Splatoon 3, so please share in the comments your experiences with those games and any others. I loved Echoes of Wisdom, and I'm not a huge 2D Zelda fan, so I was stoked to get some of those traditional dungeons back, and these dungeons are legit, y'all. The UI, especially for selecting echoes, is one of the game's biggest flaws, and I'm curious how much time I spent in the menus versus the actual game, but all in all, it's a really good time and feels fresh for the series. I think there's no better way to end this retrospective than with Tears of the Kingdom. I definitely consider this game to be the biggest major flagpole release for the Nintendo Switch. In reality, it's probably Mario Wonder, but for me, it's The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. The hype for this game was astronomical, and I think the 2 greatest trailers in all of gaming is still the final trailer for Breath of the Wild and the final trailer for Tears of the Kingdom. I still get goosebumps and feel the emotions when I watch these trailers back. As a character literally based off the Triforce, Zelda means so much to me, and to be able to experience these 2 massive games was such a treat. The online discourse surrounding Tears of the Kingdom is quite mixed. Did it hold up to the standard of Breath of the Wild? Did it change enough? Does it warrant its own game that took as long to develop as Breath of the Wild? This isn't the place for that conversation, but I do remember how I felt when I got to return to the Hyrule that started off my Nintendo Switch journey. The magic that was in the Switch was fading year after year as the console turned from cutting edge to dated technology, but something about Tears of the Kingdom for me brought some of that magic back. I had a local soda shop that actually sold a mixed soda called Tears of the Kingdom to celebrate the release of the game, and I remember buying it and playing the game for 4 days straight till I beat it. I don't think I've ever no-lifed a game like that. I've never woke up, played a game, gone to sleep, then rinsed and repeated till it was over, but I loved every minute of it, and I loved my experience with the Nintendo Switch. I know I missed a lot. I could have talked about other software, my experience with the hardware, but it's difficult to pack 8+ years of experience into a single video. Nintendo, in a day where the gaming industry seems so volatile and competitors are struggling to put out quality exclusive experiences, I'm so happy to see you succeed. As fans, we'll always have feedback or criticism, but that comes from a place of deep love and appreciation for the brands, the characters, and the experiences you've built for us over the years. So thank you, Nintendo. Thank you for the Nintendo Switch. We are mere days away from the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, and I will be streaming this event. Catch it with me live or watch my reactions to it after the fact. If you like this video, consider subscribing. I started my channel a few months ago, and I'm so happy with the community I've been able to build up, and those of you who have come along for the ride. A massive thanks to my Patreon and YouTube members for supporting me, and if you want more behind the scenes videos or discussion videos about topics I enjoy, become a member on YouTube or Patreon. I also have a Discord that a lot of us like to chat on, and we'll be holding events soon like Smash Nights. I really appreciate you being here. Thanks for watching, and as always,
thank you for all your support!